FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good morning to you. Welcome to your morning newscast for today, Sunday, May 29th, 2022. My name is Josh Van Slegman, and thank you for joining us. Just before we get to the main newscast, let me read to you today's front page of the Kaieteur News, or front page comment rather of the Kaieteur News. Will our leaders continue to betray this nation? By midweek, the nation should be aware of what our leaders did with the Liza 1 permit renewal. Whether they use it as a bargaining chip to get a better deal or if they surrender and further betrayed the country. This is a game-changing moment for Guyana. It sets the stage for all future negotiations with the oil companies. The Environmental Protection Agency must be given clear instructions by President Irfan Ali. Nobody can afford to blink in this groundbreaking moment. Our leaders, including the opposition leader, are being provided with an opportunity to establish their patriotic credentials, demonstrate their grit, and display their readiness to put in all on the line for the sake of Guyana. We have been robbed and raped. It must stop. Guyana is hurting. The economic piracy must cease. The Liza 1 permit must not be renewed until we get what we deserve. Renew Liza 1 permit, but only on fair terms. Leaders must correct for the missed opportunity of the Payara and Yellowtail projects. The ball is in the hands of the nation's leaders. They must change and they must charge and come forward courageously. That is your front page comment for today, for the Sunday, May 29th edition of the Kaieteur News. My name is Joshua Van Slegman. Good morning to you once again, and let's get to the news in details. British Columbia, Canada's westmost province, appears to be following in the footsteps of the USA as it has announced that it will be increasing royalty rates to raise additional money annually for its people. This revelation was made by Premier John Horgan. According to the Vancouver Sun, a daily newspaper, royalties had topped $1 billion Canadian dollars a year for almost a decade, starting in 2000, largely from natural gas. Gas royalties then peaked in 2005 and 6 at 1.92 billion Canadian dollars, but by 2010 royalties had plummeted to sometimes less than 150 million Canadian dollars, even though gas producing was rising. In the light of the deep losses, the government said a new minimum royalty rate of 5% will be replaced the old rate of 3%. The new rate will be in effect when companies pay off costs of newly drilled wells. Once that point that has been reached, the royalty rate will be slide between 5 to 40%, depending on the price of natural gas. In Guyana, current and future generations are shackled by a 2% royalty and a host of other provisions in the Stabroek Block Production Sharing Agreement, which the government insists it has shown no interest in amending. It has affirmed that the sanctity of contract must be maintained. Esso 5 years ago secured an environmental permit to develop and produce hydrocarbons, namely crude oil and natural gas from the Liza 1 field in the Stabroek Block offshore Guyana. That permit was said at the time to be valid for 25 years, but this was challenged in the local courts by international lawyer Belinda Janke, who successfully argued that the law only permitted the EPA to issue a permit for 5 years. As such, on a Tuesday, that permit expired and would have to be renewed before any further production can be continued. It is with this in mind that a global non-profit organization, Avaz, put together a press engagement this past week to call on the EPA and other Guyanese leaders to put a halt on the project and not renew the project unless and until the lopsided deals is remedied. Janke was joined in her call by Director at the Institute of Energy Economics and Financial Analysis, Tom Sanzolo. When asked, however, about the renegotiation of the production sharing agreement, PSA, inked between ExxonMobil Guyana and their partners and the government, since as a developing country Guyana needs to renew stream, Janke said, despite this being a really bad deal for Guyana and it puts Guyana at risk. Such a course of action with the current crop of leaders could prove to be riskier. She qualified her position, saying that the government has so far shown that it is incapable of standing up to ExxonMobil. Meanwhile, in recent years, the United Arab Emirates has positioned itself as one of the world's fastest developing gold trade hubs. However, its strategy has been criticized and it is accused of exploiting poor countries, particularly the ones located in Africa, South America, and South Asia. According to an ENAC and ENACT observed report, Mali is labeled as West Africa's hub for illegal gold trade with Dubai. ENACT Observers publishes original analysis related to the transitional organized crime in Africa. In an article on such, ENACT stated that the country needs to strengthen its domestic response to trade discrepancies that enables illicit gold trading in West Africa. It was also stated that the discrepancies in the metal production and trade statistics between the two in the UAE expose a massive illegal trade, particularly in the mining sector. Notably, according to the report, this not only results in billions of dollars of lost revenue to affected countries, but also fuels conflict through its illegal financing of violence. As an online petition to secure a better deal for Guyana continues to pick up, Gold Traction, a well-known actor from the United States, has joined the protests. Mark Allen Ruffalo, who starred in the popular 2012 film Avengers, played the Hulk, and in more recent times he appeared in the Netflix movie The Adam Project, along with several others. Mark wrote on his Twitter account on Friday night that Exxon is it again. This time, they're robbing the people of Guyana with an oil deal that could destroy their country and cook the planet. To this end, the star called on the executive director of the EPA, Mr. Kemraj Parshram, to stop this from happening. Guyana's Office of the President was tagged in the tweet. Given that the operating permit for ExxonMobil's first oil field, Liza 1, expires next week, May 31, 2022, international advocates and environmental activists have increased momentum to support Guyana in its call for a better financial deal from its oil endowments, as well as adequate protection for the environment. You're listening to your main newscast on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. As Guyanese across the miles sits in suspense to hopefully rejoice over the news of better terms and financial agreements through a possible renegotiation of the present lopsided production sharing agreement with U.S. oil major ExxonMobil, attorney at law and chartered accountant Christopher Ram has said that the challenges to the document is a key option, rather than depend on results that may never yield, from holding the Liza 1 permit as an opportunity to haul the oil company to the table to secure better terms for the people of Guyana. Ram, in an invited comment on Friday, said that the best shot the country has at renegotiating the contract is by successfully challenging the 2016 PSA. Given the mere funds Guyana is receiving from its oil endowments, the country must not only seek more revenue from its expansive offshore oil reserve and improve commitments to protect its environment from operators, but this must be done before the pending collapses of the transitioning energy sector. International analyst Tom Sanzolo, who made the foregoing pronouncement, was speaking directly to the fact that Guyana is set to expend oil revenue received so far by the end of 2022 budget. Sanzolo is among the experienced professionals offering guidance to Guyana with its newfound oil wealth. One of the main concerns is that Guyana receives more money from its oil and put up some of its earnings for rainy days. Sanzolo noted that the oil market is one that usually persists based on certain factors. For now, With increased oil prices, the market appears pleasant for distributors of the resources. We tell you now that there was chaos during the wee hours of Saturday at the National Park after gunshots, a rain of bottles, and an alleged robbery spree abruptly ended the Baderation concert hosted by Hits and Jams Entertainment. The Baderation event featured Jamaican dancehall artist Skeng and was one of the series of shows organized by HJ Entertainment for the Independence Week. The Baderation raised some serious security concerns for the country, and as a result, the promoters were called in for a meeting with Guyana's acting top cop Clifton Higgins. Gunshots were fired in the air from among the hundreds of patrons. At first, the shots did not grasp much attention, but when it started to rain bottles from the skies, everyone realized that something was very wrong. The crowd started to scatter in chaotic fashion. Some screamed in panic and others ran for cover. The DJs were forced to end the music abruptly, and Skeng and his entourage had to leave the stage. Later that morning, Facebook was flooded with videos of patrons armed with handguns, some shooting in the air. Videos also surfaced showing that there was a robbery spree taking place amidst the chaos. It was also alleged that the bandits has also stormed into the bank's DIH drinks bar and stole all the money. And with that, we've come to the end of your morning newscast for today, Sunday, May 29th, 2022. My name is Joshua Van Sleckman. On behalf of all of us here at Team Kaieteur Radio, wishing you and your family a great remainder of your Sunday.